Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. So we did finish that hadith that talks about al-khula. I don't know why Imam Ibn Hajar put hadith of khula before talaq, because talaq is much more common than khula, but he did put the hadith of khula before the talaq, and that was the hadith of Thabit ibn Qais. And the difference between al-khula and talaq is that khula is initiated by the wife, and she has to go to the judge. She just cannot say ana khala'tak, which means that just like he can divorce her, she can just cancel the marriage with him. No, she has to go through the authority judge. And then the iddah of khula is one haida in comparison to three haidat, 3 periods. 3 periods for the talaq, but 1 period for the khula. And khula, she has to give him back what he has paid to establish this marriage, the dowry, and he may ask for compensation above that. But al-khula will take place anyhow. But if he asks for compensation above that and she can pay it, she should do that as well. Although it is not encouraged for him to ask for more than what he has, paid. And then, very important is that khula is not considered as a talaq. And the importance of this point is that, let's say 2 people got married, then she had a problem with him and she did khula. Okay, so they did khula and they were separated completely. And then he decided to marry her again and she accepted. And then another problem happened and she went for khula again. Let's say she repeated this, she can 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
It can happen. But in talaq you only have
3.
You only have 3 chances for talaq. If somebody pronounces talaq once, twice, if he pronounces the 3rd time, then it is finished. She cannot go back to him until she marries somebody else, a normal marriage that is not arranged in any way to make her halal again for him. Okay? Let's say somebody divorced his wife twice, and then she went for khula, and they were separated by khula. And then does he still have one more talaq if they go back together?
Yeah.
Yes, because it is not considered as a talaq. Now, talaq, if somebody divorces, he has 3 periods, 3 menstrual periods, allowing him to have his wife back. And having her back is from his side by his decision. It is not her decision. And he can have her back either verbally by telling her that I've brought you back to me as a wife, or practically. So if they have a sexual relationship, then that is considered as him having her back, which means that during the talaq al-raj'i, during that period of reversible talaq, she's not supposed to leave the house. That's very important. ولا يخرجن من بيوتهن ولا تخرجوهن إلا أن يأتين بفاحشة مبينة. She should not leave the house, which means that she is considered his wife during that time, and which means that she can dress in the way that she likes. Because some women, the moment he says talaq this, she puts on her hijab and stays at home with the hijab. That's not right. As long as the talaq is reversible, she's still his wife. He can see from her whatever he wishes, and she does not have to cover from him during that period. And she stays in his house. She stays in the house. She does not leave the house. I even mentioned to you that if somebody had 3 wives and he divorced the 4th one, and during that 3 months or 3 periods that she's waiting, and he doesn't have any intention of bringing her back, can he go and marry another 4th wife? No, he cannot, right? Remember, we talked about this, because she's still considered as his wife. If he goes and marries while she's still waiting, then he basically has now he's married the fifth wife, and that fifth marriage is not valid in Islam. Okay, it's not valid in Islam. So if somebody divorces, he has 3 periods, and 3 periods doesn't mean 3 months, because some people think it's 3 months. It's not 3 months. Maybe her first period is going to come in a few days. You follow? Okay. Maybe her first period comes a day after he gets pronounced talaq. And then the second period will come like 28 days or 25 days later. The third period will come 25 days later. Basically, he only had 50 days here. He thinks he has 90 days. He does not have 90 days. Very, very important point as well. If he waits until the periods have passed, the 3 periods, then the marriage is done. He can have her back if this was the first talqa. If this was the first talqa, he can have her back by doing a new marriage contract with a new dowry, a new arrangement, everything. They may accept, they may not accept. Okay? It is encouraged that they accept. He has a priority over anybody else who proposes to her. And we read the ayah before. فَلَا تَعْضُلُهُنَّ أَن يَنْكِحْنَ أَزْوَاجَهُنَّ. Do not prevent him. If she wants to go back and he wants her back, the parents should not prevent that woman from going back to her to her husband. Okay, the wali. Let's say he divorced her again, then she has again 3 periods. During that time, he can bring her back. If he waits until it's done, if he waits until the 3 periods are done, then this marriage is done again. Can he go and marry her again? Yes. With a new contract? Yes, he can. He can go and marry her again with a new contract. Then another problem happens, and then he pronounces another talaq. What happens then? He cannot have her. He cannot have her back anymore. She doesn't stay in the house anymore. There's no raj'ah. It is the 3rd talaq. It is finished. There's no waiting period anymore. No waiting, no reversible period for him. But she has to wait the iddah anyhow. So, but she leaves the house, and she has to wait still for 3 periods. And some scholars said only 1 period here. Why only 1 period? Ibn Taymiyyah says only 1 period. Because there's no chance of bringing her back. The 3 periods was for the hikmah of allowing more time to bring her back. But here only 1 period is needed. 1 period is needed to make sure that she is not pregnant from him, because we need to know whose son this is or whose daughter this is. Okay? But most scholars say it is still 3 periods after 3 talaq. After khula it is 1 period. If somebody marries a woman, but he has not consummated the marriage, لم يدخل بها, has not consummated the marriage, and he divorces her. Does she stay in the house? Does she stay in the house? No. No. This is considered finished. If he has not consummated the marriage, this is an important point as well. The marriage is done. He cannot have her back except with a new contract. Okay, and there's no waiting period here, because there's no chance of pregnancy. You had some question?
Yeah, I think I wanted to ask if the second marriage, you said 1 talaq only for the second marriage?
The second marriage?
Yeah, of the same person.
If he married her again?
Yeah, and
so he had 1 talaq before?
Yeah.
Now he divorced her again?
And got a new contract.
A new contract, okay.
So
he has 2 talqa already. He has 1 left. Marriage? Although yes, he has. The only thing that would reset the 3 talqat again would be what? If she married, if he divorced her 3 times, and she married, and she divorced, and then and he marries her again. Now he has 3 talaq from. He has 3 talaq all over again. The one who has not consummated the marriage, there is no iddah. فَمَا لَكُمْ عَلَيْهِنَّ مِنْ عِدَّةٍ تَعْتَدُّونَهَا. She has no waiting period. So if he divorced her, okay, he divorced her and has not consummated the marriage, it is a done talaq. There is no waiting period, and there is no iddah. She doesn't have to wait. Next day somebody else can propose to her and marry her. Okay, that's an important point as well. Doesn't happen commonly, but it can happen. Go ahead.
بالنسبة للخلع متى بحق للزوجة إنه تخلع زوجها؟ يعني شو الشروط؟ حتى القاضي يقول أوكي.
Well, شروط. He's asking what are the conditions for the woman to ask for khula and for the judge to accept. She has to offer reasonable reasons that she doesn't like him. Here, she didn't like him just because he doesn't look good. Thabit ibn Qais was a very good man religiously, and morally he was a very good man as well. Okay? And he was from the people who are mubashsharuna bil Jannah. He's somebody, Prophet ﷺ told him, you are in Jannah. There's not any better than this. But still, she just did not like him physically. Okay? Physically, she did not like him. Finally, I'll just mention that a talaq has different rulings. It is makruh if both husband and wife are good people and they don't really have any problem, any serious problem, it is makruh for them to dissolve this marriage by talaq. Imam Abu Hanifa said it is haram, and maybe that's a stronger opinion, because the hadith indicate that. Although the hadith of أيما امرأة سألت زوجها الطلاق من غير ما بأس فحرام عليها رائحة الجنة, this hadith that any woman asks her husband for talaq with no good reason, then it's forbidden for her the scent of Jannah. Scholars say this hadith is not authentic. I reviewed it. Scholars said it is not authentic. But if it was authentic, then it would clearly be haram for such a marriage to end. When he's a good husband and she's a good wife and there's no reason, then it would be haram. But Imam Abu Hanifa feels it is haram in this situation for the marriage to happen, which means that they have committed a sin if they divorce. But most scholars say it is makruh. It is mubah and al-haja. The talaq becomes permissible if there's a reason, such as they say سوء خلق المرأة والتضرر ببقائها. If she is nasty towards him and they're always fighting with each other, then it is permissible. It is mustahab, they say, إذا كانت الزوجة متضررة باستدامة الزواج وهي الحالة التي تحوج المخالعة. وعند الشيخ تقي الدين أنه واجب. يعني he says here that it is favorable if the wife cannot tolerate this husband or cannot tolerate this marriage for some reason, and that is what happens in khula. Here another point, he says it is wajib للإيلاء إذا أبى الزوج الفيئة. If a husband deserts his wife, للذين يقولون من نسائهم تربصوا 4 أشهر فإن فاءوا فإن الله غفور رحيم. So if somebody deserts his wife, he only has a certain period allowed in Islam. He has a big problem with her. He doesn't want to stay with her, so he leaves her like this. He's her husband, but he's not really having any relationship with her, no contact. At a certain point, the ayah says 4 months. Beyond that, he has to either go back to a normal marriage or he's forced to. It becomes wajib for him to divorce her, because he can't leave her like this in limbo between marriage and no marriage. And a very important point, talaq becomes haram in certain situations. When it is haram, we mentioned the first situation when both husband and wife are good. Abu Hanifa feels it is haram. But more importantly, talaq al-bid'i. Talaq al-bid'i, which means talaq that's not according to the sunnah. The only talaq that's according to the sunnah is الطلاق في طهر لم يجامعها فيه, which means that she has had her period is finished, and this is so she is in the clean period called طهر, and he has not had sexual intercourse with her. These are the conditions for the sunni talaq, for the proper talaq to happen. But if he divorces her during the hayd, during the menstrual period, that is haram, called talaq bid'i. It is not according to the sunnah, against the sunnah. If he has had sexual intercourse with her and divorces during that same period, the same clean period between the two periods, again it is haram, it is talaq bid'i. أو طلاق في نفاس, or she has during the period, which is the period after delivering the baby, the first month after the baby, أو طهر جمعها فيه, أو طلقها 3 بكلمة واحدة. So people who say you are divorced 3 times in one, that is haram to do that. He has committed a sin. It's considered as one talaq. It's considered as 1 talaq, not 3 talaq. Okay. Yes. But talaq during pregnancy is allowed as well. But
yeah, when in trying to ascertain the period, you just said that the period of the menstrual period.
Yes.
What happens if the person is in menopause? How do you count?
Yeah, it's, there's an ayah on this, 3 months. Okay.
3 months. Too.
Yeah.
So
واللاتي يئسن من المحيض من نسائكم إن ارتبتم فعدتهن 3 أشهر واللاتي لم يحضن. And there are some women who never had a period. واللاتي لم يحضن means women who never had a period. That can happen as well. By the way, talaq al-bid'i which is not according to the Sunnah, some scholars say it does not take place. Some scholars say it does not take place, which means that if somebody divorces his wife during a menstrual cycle, during her menstrual period, some scholars say, and that's a strong opinion as well, but there's difference in opinion on this matter. There's controversy here, but some scholars say because it's not according to the Sunnah, it does not take place, okay? So if somebody comes to you and says, I divorced my wife in this situation, you have to ask him in detail, what are the situations he divorced, okay? Because there are some other talaqs that don't take place, such as somebody, for instance, he was drunk or was under the influence of drugs, okay? Or so was extremely angry that he doesn't even know what he's saying. Those talaqs don't take place. If he divorced her during her menstrual, you try to find ways out to continue the marriage as much as possible using legitimate opinions. These are not awkward opinions. These are legitimate opinions of respected scholars of Islam. Shall we stop here?